Good morning. Good morning. Welcome and welcome back to Bookeemonsters. My name is PK. It is Monday, June the 3rd. And if you're up on your classic pop songs, today's the day that Billy Joe McAllister jumped off the Tallahassee Bridge. If you don't know, you should look it up and listen to that song. It is one of the best story songs ever written. Hope you had a good weekend. Hope you read good books. Let's see, I am currently still reading To Shield the Queen by Fiona Buckley. First this is actually a reread for me in a historical mystery series set during Elizabethan times. Also reading Dance with Death. Sorry, I had to think of it. I knew it had Dance and Death in there somehow. I just couldn't remember the order. By Will Thomas. Kim says, "Good morning." Oh, we've got a little message here. Okay. Good morning, Kim. How are you doing? Did you have a good weekend? So we are starting another week. We are looking at the new releases that are being set into the wild this week. Each day of the week, we look at a different genre. Today, we're looking at cozy mysteries. Tomorrow, we'll be looking at mysteries and thrillers. On Wednesdays, we'll be looking at romances. Thursdays, we'll be looking at fantasy and science fiction. And Friday is Freeform Friday. We'll be looking at more historical mysteries for the beginning of Midsummer Hiss Mist, which started on Saturday, all month long. If you are enjoying dabbling into historical mysteries or would like to jump in and see what's going on there, this is a good month for it. Mary says, "Good morning. Happy Monday. Still reading The Book of Thorns by Heather Fox." Hi, Kim. Hope you're doing well today. Kim says, "I finished A Bookshop to Die For by M.P. Black last night. Haven't decided what to start next." Ooh, that's the fun part. Looking through all your treasures. Let's see, other announcements. We do not have sprints tonight. I don't do them on Monday night. I believe it's on Storm's channel tonight if you want to check that out. I will be doing sprints tomorrow night, Tuesday at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern. They'll go for 2.5 hours. I do every Tuesday and Thursday evening and Saturday afternoons. As pretty as this cup of coffee is, shall we jump in? This one I do have. My mom is reading this one, so I get them for her. She's very happy. She's got a couple options this week. This is The Stranger in the Library by Eva Gates. This is 11th in the Lighthouse Library Mysteries. Outer Banks librarian Lucy is working on an art show at the library when paintings and people start to go missing. When a traveling show of Impressionist art comes to Nags Head, North Carolina, librarian Lucy and the staff at the Brody Island Lighthouse Library are inspired to create an educational display about art history. Their launch of the display is a huge success, but the morning after, they discover that a reproduction of a famous painting has gone missing. No one knows why anyone would bother stealing it. The picture is of no value. The real, priceless painting is under lock and key at the art show itself. Lucy gets an invite to the glitzy opening night for the real show, where she notices unusual tension among the show's organizers. Then the man scheduled to give the welcoming speech fails to arrive, and a partygoer is discovered drowned in a fish pond. Meanwhile, Louise Jane is totally captivated by Tom Riley, a handsome, charming art dealer lurking at the edges of the receptions on both nights. Tom slipped away from the party early, and he cannot be located by the police. Who, Lucy asks, is Tom Riley, the shadowy figure threatening to break Louise Jane's heart? Something is afoot at Nag's Head, and it's up to Lucy and her friends to get to the bottom of it before it's not just paintings being framed. Yes, it stormed tonight. Awesome. Hey, Mary, thank you. Had a pretty decent day. And you? Kim, I am really enjoying this first Library Lighthouse book. I just can't seem to finish it. Yeah, I read the first one, and I've not continued it, even though I have them all for my mom. I've just had other things Doesn't mean it's a bad book or series. I just have a lot. This one I do have. It is for me. I have enjoyed this series. This is Smoke and Mirrors, the fourth book in the Greer Hogan mysteries. Continuing the librarian theme here. This is by Emmy Hilliard. Librarian turned sleuth Greer Hogan is back on the case and headed to the big city in this fourth installment. Blah, blah, blah. Having spent months quietly investigating in the village of Ravenhill, Greer Hogan returns to New York City, determined to find her husband's murderer. She secures a temporary gig at a private library inventorying the personal collection of a deceased magician. In her free time, Greer sleuths, leaving no stone unturned, even the ones which could be hiding deadly secrets. 4 years earlier, Greer had discovered her husband Dan dead in their apartment. He'd tried to tell her about something strange going on at his office, but she hadn't had time to listen until it was too late. Worse still, she has always suspected that the wrong man was convicted of the crime. Now Greer has solved other murders and has a few tricks up her sleeve. She combs through belongings she packed away soon after Dan's death and interviews his former colleagues and people who were near the scene when he died. Soon, Greer is followed and attacked, so she knows she's stuck a nerve, but whose? I do like that series. And another series I follow, I do have this one, but I'm not up to this one yet. I mentioned it on Friday for historical mysteries. If you like Deanna Rayburn's Veronica Speedwell and you've read them all, this is a good series to jump into. It kind of has the same feeling. This is Deadly Betrayal by Carla Simpson, 8th in the Angus Brody and Michaela Forsyth murder mystery. Ghosts of the Past. The very case that made Brody leave the Metropolitan Police returns to jeopardize his private inquiry business, his relationship with Michaela Forsyth, and perhaps even his life. 10 years earlier, after Brody refused to divulge the name of his source in a murder case, Chief Inspector Aberline threatened to have charges brought against him for withholding evidence. The case might very well have won Aberline the coveted new title of Commissioner of Police, and when the source, a woman, suddenly disappeared, Aberline couldn't forgive Brody. Now the woman has returned and says the man she could have helped put behind bars is stalking her, and she's afraid for her life. Determined to save her, Brody searches for her stalker, only to become the prime suspect himself when she turns up dead. With Aberline about to have him arrested, Brody goes into hiding, insisting he can find the real killer. Can Michaela trust that Brody is telling the truth? Why won't he tell her everything he knows? And what does this all mean for their partnership as well as their personal relationship? She's about to find out as she undertakes her own investigation to prove Brody's innocence. Also a very good series. I got a few chores done around the house yesterday, many more to do. Getting ready to fly to Arizona later in the week. Awesome. To spend time with my daughter and daughter-in-law. Excited. Oh, yeah. And like the cover, Deadly Betrayal. I like all those covers. That's a good series for covers. Kim says, I've lost a small box of books that I just found Saturday. Can't figure out where I put it. Oh, no, someplace safe. If you're like me, Kim, I can be looking right at it and not see it. Yeah. I had to clean before my friend came to clean. That is also very common. Susan Wittig Albert has a new one this week. I also got this one from my mom. I'm behind. Forget Me Never, 29th in the China Bell series. Olivia Andrews is locally famous for her blog and podcast, Forget Me Not, a crime victim storyboard, which is dedicated to telling the stories of victims of crime. Now she has a stunning story to tell about a decades-old murder mystery involving a prominent citizen of Pecan Springs, someone who isn't the man everybody thinks he is. But she is killed by a hit-and-run driver while she's out jogging early one morning. Was it an accident or something else? Her sister wants to know. And Olivia's friend China Bells also wants to know, urgently, who is the prominent citizen Olivia was about to expose? How did he manage to get away with murder 20 years ago? Did he kill Olivia to keep her from revealing his secret? What is local lawyer Charlie Littman trying to hide? And when there's another murder, well, it has to be part of the same story, doesn't it? And so does the scrap and so does the scrapbook a cousin has compiled to honor the memory of one of the victims and make sure she won't be forgotten. It might hold the answer, except that the one person whose face China wants to see has been scissored out of every photo. Definitely Mary. Yeah. A Botanist's Guide to Society and Secrets by Kate Kavari. Part of the Saffron Everly Mysteries. This is the third book, I believe. London, 1923. Returning from Paris, botanical researcher Saffron Everly finds that her former love interest Alexander Ashton's brother Adrian is being investigated for murder. A Russian scientist working for the English government has been poisoned and expired in Adrian's train compartment. Alexander asks Saffron to put in a good word for Adrian with Inspector Green. Despite her unresolved feelings for Alexander, Saffron begins to unravel mysteries surrounding the dead scientist. As if a murder case weren't enough, her best friend Elizabeth's war hero brother Nick arrives in town and takes an immediate interest in Saffron. Saffron learns Alexander has been keeping secrets from her, including a connection to Nick, who Saffron and Elizabeth begin to suspect is more than he seems. When another scientist is found dead, Saffron agrees to go undercover at the government laboratory. Risking her career and her safety, she learns there are many more interested parties and dangerous secrets to uncover than she realized. But some secrets Saffron will find are better left undiscovered. I did start to read the first one in this series. I was doing the audiobook, and the performer kept doing this weird breathy thing at the end of her sentences, and it just irritated me, so I stopped. Dead Tired by Kat Ailes, second in the Expectant Detectives mysteries. Didn't that first one just come out recently? They're cranking these out. Being a new mom is murder. Alice didn't think her maternity leave would involve so much, well, murder. Before becoming proud new moms, she and her friends bonded more than members of a prenatal group usually would, as they became accidental amateur sleuths and solved a crime together. Now, with all this behind them and Alice's son Jack somehow already a year old, Alice is keen to finally catch up on some sleep. So, when an opportunity presents itself in the unlikely form of an eco protest, Alice and her friends willingly chain themselves to trees and settle in as an excuse to get some overdue rest. Not the most comfortable arrangement ever, but at this point, they'll take what they can get. However, the next morning, one of their fellow protesters is found strangled, and any hope of a peaceful interlude is suddenly swept away. Soon, Alice and her friends become entangled in a plot involving rogue artists, an drinking game, enigmatic local entrepreneur, and nude optional protesting, offering an unexpected but not necessarily unwelcome break from changing diapers and wrestling baby toys away from Helen the dog, etc. Jen McKinley has a new one. Oh, in the Cupcake Bakery one. I think I'm still on book 3. I have to be in the mood for cozies. I they're not my first love. Historical art is my first love. Fondant Fumble, 16th in the Cupcake Bakery series. Professional football players, however you say that name, Graham and Tyler Matthews, want to open a fairy tale cupcakes franchise. They're spending the off season in Scottsdale working in Mel's Bakery, learning about the business and how to bake show-stopping cupcakes. The popular athletes bring a boom of customers to the store as football fans flock to see the friends mixing batter and piping icing. Everyone's excited the athletes are pursuing their dream of owning a bakery, except for those who fear the players will ditch football for fondant and retire early from professional sports. Yeah, they're going to walk away from millions. The angry naysayers include their team owner and I'm just going to say Kay because I don't know how to say that. Sports agent, along with some very local fans. When the owner is it Keth? When the owner of their team, the Arizona Scorpions, is found dead on the floor of their new bakery following an argument with him, the pros become prime suspects. As the investigation heats up, Mel and the rest of the Cupcake Bakery crew must step up and prove their franchise owners are innocent before it's game over for the new bakers. Jenny Martz. Kill or be killed. Second in the beekeeping mysteries. Small town of Humble Hills, Colorado is abuzz with excitement over the upcoming annual Bee Festival sponsored by Bailey's Granny Bee and the Honey Buzz Mountain Ranch. The long weekend of festivities includes a beauty pageant, beekeeping demonstrations, a local restaurant bake-off, and a 3K bear run where all the participants are dressed as bears. The bake-off brings in a television crew from California to film, so it's the most drama-filled part of the weekend, especially when the famous celebrity host winds up dead. Because the celebrity was holding her bracelet and had been witnessed having an altercation with Bailey's best friend Evie shortly before his death, everyone suspects Evie of the murder, and Bailey is quickly on the hunt for clues to clear Evie's name, alongside Granny B and her bunch of geriatric misfit friends. Bailey's potential new honey, Sheriff Sawyer Dunn, is none too pleased to have Bailey buzzing around the investigation, but Bailey is determined to uncover the truth, rescue her granny's beloved bee festival, and save her bestie. All of you to death. All of you to death. A Tourist Trap Mystery by Lynn Cahoon, 16th in that series. In the coastal town of South Cove, June is tourist season and wedding season. Unfortunately, Jill Gardner's own wedding has been delayed, but that just gives her more time to search for a missing bride and a killer. Things are looking up for the owner of Coffee Books and More. Jill's finally getting her MBA, and though her wedding to police detective Greg is postponed a few months, she still has plenty to celebrate. A girls' weekend in Santa Barbara is just the ticket, but back in South Cove, someone else's big day has become a big problem. Antiques dealer Josh Thomas and Mandy Jensen were planning a small private ceremony under an olive tree on the historic Jensen farm until Mandy went missing. Is this a case of a runaway bride or a guilty groom? Greg zeroes in on Josh but finds him so annoying that he quietly asks Jill's help in keeping his number one suspect distracted. She knows that Josh is searching for something else besides his fiancée, a bank robber's buried gold bullion. And when the professor he'd been discussing it with turns up dead, she can't help wondering if what looked like cold feet was actually cold-blooded murder. Jacqueline Winspear has a new one in the Maisie Dobbs Historical Mysteries. The Comfort of Ghosts. 18th in the series. London, 1945. Four adolescent orphans with a dark wartime history are squatting in a vacant Belgravia mansion, the owners having fled London under heavy Luftwaffe bombing. Psychologist and investigator Maisie Dobbs visits the mansion on behalf of the owners and discovers that a demobilized soldier, gravely ill and reeling from his experiences overseas, has taken shelter with the group. Maisie's quest to bring comfort to the youngsters and the ailing soldiers brings to light a decades-old mystery concerning Maisie's first husband, James Compton, who was killed while piloting an experimental fighter aircraft. As Maisie unravels the threads of her dead husband's life, she is forced to examine her own painful past and question beliefs she has always accepted as true. I did not know she had been married. Why did she not go by that last name? The Crown Conspiracy by Connie Mann. She's a master at spotting a forgery and knowing how to create one, but can she solve a decades-old mystery? The media spotlight is the last thing art thief and forger Sophie Williams needs, but when one of three long missing royal portraits turns up in Germany at her best friend's art gallery, the spotlight is exactly what she gets. Since the tragic deaths of Princess Joanna of Neuensberg and her two children 40 years ago, the whereabouts of these portraits have been unknown, and the timing of their reappearance just days before a new prince's coronation reignites questions surrounding the infamous accident. Then Sophie's best friend vanishes, and a rumor about hidden treasure connected to the painting surfaces, while seemingly confirmed by a cryptic message on the back of the first canvas. Convinced that finding the other two portraits will lead to her friend, Sophie begins a twisty investigation that pits her against other ruthless treasure hunters, a handsome investigator who seems to dog her tail at every turn, and a mysterious group that offers help, wearing an emblem identical to the one on the painting. We are kind of running out of time here, so I'm just going to kind of look at some covers. We've got the Hudson Collection by Jocelyn Green, historical. The Secret Keeper of Main Street by Tricia R. Thomas. That it looks to be in the 50s. A new Chloe, I think it's Cleo Fox. Murder at the Dinner Party by C.J. Archer. Blackmail at Beckwith Place by Jenna Bennett. Another historical. Jean Dams has a new one. We might look at that one here. Murder of a Hermit by Carol Miller. And A Midworth Mysteries, The Lost Man by Neil Richards and Matthew Costello. So let's look at this Jean Dams. That's a big name. 26th in the Dorothy Martin Mysteries. And I did check. This is a new one. A trip to the Lake District proves to be anything but idyllic when Dorothy and Alan investigate a mysterious death. Dorothy Martin and her husband, retired Chief Constable Alan Nesbitt, jump at the chance to holiday in the beautiful Lake District when Alan's old friend Christopher Prideaux invites them to visit him in Grasmere. A party at Christopher's cottage is the perfect way to meet the locals, but one stands out. Accountant Donald Atkinson, an egoist hoping to become a politician, clearly isn't popular among his fellow villagers. When he's found mysteriously dead during the fell race, could his demise be due to a sudden fatal medical emergency, or was it murder? Dorothy and Alan find themselves catapulted into a disturbing case that will lead them back in time and to a terrible, scandalous secret that someone is determined to keep hidden. All right. That is, all we have. Kim says, I have no idea where I am in the Cupcake series. The last few years I was so tired from work and I just couldn't read much. Oh, I get it. I get it. Probably have to be rereading a lot of series. I understand that too. Kim says, I love the Tourist Trap series. I know I was caught up when I when I stopped reading. Oh, I see the new Jean Dams. Yes. Have to get to that one. Mary, hope everyone has a great week. Thanks, and always great to see you. Yes, indeed. You have a good day. I did see, Mary, that Shannon is sick still, so the sale is going to be a little wonky, but she's still having it. Have a great day, everyone. That I am caught up on. Awesome. It's always good to have a new one. All right. That is it for today. Tomorrow we'll be looking at mysteries and thrillers, going to the grittier side of things. And on Wednesday, we'll be looking at the romances and so forth. Again, no sprints tonight on my channel. They are on Storm's channel, Storm Reads. I will have sprints tomorrow night on my channel, this one, Bookeemonsters, at 6 p.m. Mountain Time, 8 p.m. Eastern, and they'll go for 2.5 hours. I do them every Tuesday and Thursday evenings and Saturday afternoons. Thank you guys. If you're not able to get up early to watch this, don't worry. I will be reposting this so you can watch it at any time you like. And for those who did, thank you very much. I know it's early, but this is the time I have, and I'm one of those discussing morning people. So here we are, looking at books. What better way to start the day, right? Okay. Have a good day, everybody. And as the banner says here, don't be a bookworm, be a bookie monster. Nom nom nom. Have a good day. God bless.